This is the Radical Thought devotion for Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. Our verse for today comes out of our reading in the one-year Bible. It's Isaiah 42, verse 20. Seeing many things, but you do not observe. Opening the ears, but he does not hear. The prophet Isaiah is speaking a prophecy against the nation of Israel. The Lord spoke through Isaiah to tell them in no uncertain terms that he did not approve of their continued rejection of Almighty God as their God. They persisted in turning to worthless idols rather than to the one true God. Often as we read texts such as this one, we can't always relate to how it might apply to us. What does Israel's turning from the Lord to idols have to do with modern day Christians? Well, quite a bit more than you might think. Not much has changed in the last 2,700 years as it relates to the way people respond to God. Now, we may not be Jews, God's chosen people, but we are God's children. And as such, we do many of the same things the Jews did. Many of the warnings and exhortations to the Jews apply directly to the 21st century Christian. Today's verse tells us that the Jews were guilty of not paying attention to God. They knew about him, but they did not listen to him or do what he told them to do. They had the law given to them by Moses to teach them how to live with God in fellowship and communion. They had the prophets all around them, including guys like Isaiah, to help them understand the world around them as it relates to God and his word, and to point them back to God whenever they wandered away from him. And even though this verse was written more than 2,000 years ago, it could easily be spoken to many Christians who sit in churches today. For years, they have heard the truth about God and how he wants to work in their lives. Sermon after sermon has described to them the life that Jesus died to give them. Message after message has instructed them in the pathway to abundant life. Jesus promised an abundant life, but many are not finding it. And just like the Hebrews of Isaiah's time, they refuse to act upon what they know. This was very frustrating to Isaiah. He knew the Jews were headed for disaster because they refused to do what God wanted them to do, because they refused to go where he wanted them to go. As a pastor, I can feel that same frustration as I preach week after week, knowing that there are people who are there because of a sense of obligation or duty, and not so that they can know Christ. Now, I like to believe that there's not very many of them, and I hope there aren't. But the fact of the matter is there probably are some. And going to church, understand, going to church is meaningless if you're not going to meet with Jesus. Showing up on Sunday will not please God if you do not come with a heart to please God in your worship. Attending church services may be a waste of time if you have no desire to serve God. God has no interest in people filling churches. He wants churches filled with people who are coming to be filled with his Spirit. Don't come so that you can say you did. Come so that you can do what he tells you to do. Pray this prayer with me. Jesus, give us a heart of obedience. The Radical Thought Devotional is a ministry of the Radical Word. You can go to radicalword.com to see more of what we do. The text-only version of these devotionals are sent daily by email. If you'd like to start receiving them, click the link in the description below. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. It helps us get the word out to those who might be encouraged by these devotionals. Until next time, go be radical with Jesus.